Welcome back to North America, Alfa. It's great to see another Italian brand back on the market. So, how hard was it a strategic decision to re-enter the North American market with a premium product? Because you have in Europe, you highlighted Giulietta, that's a little more mainstream. How hard or how easy is it to tackle the premium segment?
Well, Sabrina, that's a great question. But I think if you take a look at, if you're going to return to North America, obviously when we came back with the 4C,
yes.
4C Spider,
Absolutely.
which was a segment on its own, correct? There's nobody that really comes close competing with
Right.
its carbon fiber monocoque chassis. But then, fast forward to Giulia. Alfa Romeo has always been a premium brand within North America.
Right.
I mean, if you go back to, like back in the 90s, the last vehicles we sold, but let's take a step further back, like the 60s. They were premium performance vehicles. So it made sense for Alfa Romeo to come back as a premium brand. But we didn't just go back and say, hey, put a badge in the car and come back and call them Alfa Romeo. So what we had a dedicated team in Modena, Italy, about a team of 1,000 engineers, and they were purely dedicated on relaunching the Alfa Romeo brand, not just for North America, but globally. Okay. And what they did, they developed its own unique platform that we call the Giorgio platform, yes. which is developed purely for Alfa Romeo. We developed our own powertrains, our own steering systems, our own suspension. This was all done on its own to make sure we can return. Because you bring up a really good point. Competing in a premium segment is something that is difficult, correct? It's dominated. Yes. Take a look at the Canadian market. 75% of vehicles sold in the premium mid-size sedan segment are German competitors. Absolutely. So we have to make sure people expect uniqueness, something premium. So when we looked at Alfa Romeo when we came back, it was kind of like, hey, let's utilize the design of the vehicle, correct? The V-shaped grille, the badge speaks for itself. I mean, there's so much story behind that, dating back 105 years. That's something that we only have. So make sure we focus on that in our positioning. But we got a lot of stuff we got to deliver on. So we have a very high-end material, standard leather interior, genuine wood interior trim, a unique infotainment system that is unique to Alfa Romeo, which is kind of hidden in the vehicle unless you turn it on. So there's little attention to detail that we know people will appreciate from the brand. And obviously, as you mentioned before, the design is something that is so important.
Right.
So there's a lot of little details in the vehicle that really speak back to the heritage we have and drive curiosity for people to start considering Alfa Romeo.
Absolutely. And in that regards, picking up on what you mentioned, was there something you needed to adapt to make it specifically appealing to the North American market?
Yeah, so that's a very good point, correct? I mean, the last vehicle we just introduced was the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, which we introduced in Los Angeles. I think what is really important is that is one of the biggest, fastest growing segments in North America. Yes. So yes, we have to offer obviously a mid-size crossover. And people like Alfa Romeo and a crossover, again, we got to make sure we stay true to Alfa Romeo. So that's why we utilize the same Giorgio platform that we utilize for Giulia, that has that handling dynamics, direct steering. People are like, what is direct steering? That is people that really driving a performance car. It's like the most direct steering, so the best feel on the road because it's still around the driver, but again, give the functionality and the space, obviously, for people that need a little bigger vehicle. But it is very important to always stay true to Alfa Romeo's DNA. So that's what everything we do. It's always based around technology, performance, and of course, coming from Italy, styling is obviously key as well.
Definitely. And on that point, how does Alfa Romeo stand out? Because you have pretty gnarly competition, as you mentioned, with the Germans pretty much dominating the market. How do you think you can manage to stand out? Like, is it marketing it? Is it how you're going to sell the vehicle? Is it like how?
So I think if we take a look at the product, how we're going to stand out, we offer best-in-class performance, best-in-class 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometer times in the segment, 280 horsepower. And I think what's also important, it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle as well. Some of the competition offer front-wheel drive vehicles. We know people want rear-wheel drive vehicles. We offer an all-wheel drive system as well, obviously. Hey, especially being here in Canada, it's almost a must. But it's always a rear-wheel drive centered vehicle. So where we're going to stand out is the driving and handling dynamics of the vehicle. The car was developed as a quadrifoglio, the vehicle next to me, the 505 Ultimate Performance Sedan. But if you then take a step back, all the technology was brought down into the Giulia and the Giulia TI, for example. So we didn't give up on that, but we did know that hey, we still needed to deliver that performance, but also from a luxury amenities though. Like I mentioned before, like standard content like HID headlamps, signature LED lights that people will start recognizing an Alfa Romeo coming down the road, driving again that curiosity to explore the brand. To your point in regards to like marketing and stuff, we use a lot of positioning building on our heritage. As you can see here as well on our display, we utilize historic memorabilia to kind of tell that Alfa Romeo story, because that is something we have and the competition doesn't really offer. So it will drive curiosity from a dealership experience. Of course, we've done a lot of research. We know what the customer expects. So we make sure we get that experience to the customer as well, to make sure that it's a true premium experience.
And it has the shift to digital. Like if you think Genesis, for instance, right now that's coming up with purely digital experience of getting the car brought up to your house to test drive it. And so how, like, is that maybe in the near future for Alfa, or for now, like, physical dealerships are the way to
So
go?
what I think is really important, we shouldn't forget, is that we have to start building a relationship with the dealer early on, correct?
Right.
So it's very important for us to drive the customer to the dealership.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's going to be the dealer that you're going to be interacting with, it's the service manager you're going to be meeting, it's the finance person you're going to be working with. So for us, it's really important, like, let's drive the people to the dealership to start building that relationship. But of course, we're always looking at, hey, what's the latest and greatest? We know people, people want their time back, and especially the premium customer. So we're always looking at, like, hey, how can we make this process more efficient?
Got it. Perfect. Okay. So, well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. That was very excellent to know a little more what's going on with Alfa, because we see them everywhere, and now we're excited to really see them on the roads.
Same
for
here.
sure.
Thanks,
Thank you
Sabrina.
so much.
Thank you. Thanks.